Okay, so I may have forgotten to start the recording of this build, so we're going to kind of just jump right into it, alright? Today we are talking about the Gemsbok, also known as the South African oryx. It is the largest species of oryx, with females coming in at roughly 220 to 460 pounds and males at 400 to 530 pounds. Rocking 33-inch straight-back horns and coming from Africa's southern dust bowls, the Kalahari and the Namib Desert, this animal is scientifically known as Oryx gazella, which sounds pretty intuitive. Gazelle, we know what that is, and oryx. But if you remember from the Dama Gazelle video, gazelle means graceful or agile, and the word oryx comes from the Greek oryx, where the word is just the Greek word for a pickaxe. So it's essentially the graceful pickaxe. Now, the name Gemsbok is Afrikaans in nature. Gems comes from the Dutch word for the chamois, and buck is just the Dutch spelling of the word buck. I know, right? Very surprising. Now, let's get into the evolutionary history. Oh wait, there is none. No matter how hard I look, the only info I could find is that the oldest oryx fossil dated roughly 2.6 million years ago in Africa. No specific nation, region, formation, though just Africa. In that case, let's move on to our history with them. While I don't have any dates or older records, the Gemsbok has always been a big part of hunting and survival for the local peoples in the more arid regions of southern Africa. But they offer more than just their meat, however. Their horns are often taken as trophies. Due to cows having longer horns than bulls, this means that are of the few female mammals to be preferred for trophy hunters than males at some point. That's a personal problem. Their horns, however, can be used in more than just trophies, as historically they're able to be turned into horns. No, I meant the other kind of horn, like a war horn, like the Gala horn. Now, while we don't have much ancient history, it does give me plenty of time to go over a nice, stupid story about the Namibian horn dancer. Imagine, if you will, the year 1969. You are part of the New Mexican Fish and Game Commission, and you think to yourself, you know, that tourism money from that weird UFO crash that happened a few years back really helped the economy. I wonder if there's something we could do to boost those numbers. Oh, that's right. I know what we can do. We can import some exotic animal for rich people to hunt. They like doing that shit, right? Right. And with that, you and some of your other boys from the state import 93 Gemsbok from the years 1969 to 1977. But, of course, where would you send them? Well, nobody using that national park 75 miles south of where they kept dropping nukes. And thus, a destination was planned. They were released into the Tularosa Basin and got out of control quick. There are currently at least 3,000 Gemsbok wandering the preserves in New Mexico's section of the Chihuahua Desert and surrounding mountains. And it's not getting better, and here's why. Let me break it down for you. Gemsbok breed year-round, and while they only really have 1 or 2 calves, from insemination to independence, the Gemsbok only takes 13 and a half months. Let me make this clear. In just barely over a year, a Gemsbok can become pregnant, have its baby, and that baby to be good enough on its own. For us, on a good, let's be generous, right? Because this isn't just reproduction. This is just being able to live on their own. In the sense of being able to feed yourself and not die of, basic life. For us humans, that's like 5-6 years when you learn to eat without the help of a parent. That might be stretching it. But humor me, would you? With that level of reproduction speed, and on top of that, you also have to consider that there is barely anything that can hunt an adult gemsbok in New Mexico. Here's all our options. Mexican wolves, which none of the packs that we know of that are reintroduced into the area are less than 100 miles away, and they are critically endangered, which means it's not like we got a ton of them running about. Jaguars, which, to our knowledge, are completely extinct in the area. And cougars, which, while they are out there, there's not nearly enough, and they only really go after the young ones because, as we stated, the males can get up to 500 pounds. Cougars max out at like 250. With all that said and done, human hunting is the only thing that keeps these things in check, and they're not doing a great job. Because if you live anywhere near White Sands National Park, they're all over the place, apparently. There's 3,000 some gemsbok just running amok, which, you know what? Hold on. Pause everything, except for the video. That gets to keep running. What is with the United States constantly, and I mean constantly, importing invasive species? You have the gemsbok in New Mexico, wild hogs in Texas, and warthogs, as we've discussed in an earlier episode. You've got damn near half the animal and plant population of Florida being invasive. Caimans, spider monkeys, anacondas, boa constrictors, peacock bass, you name it. And then you've got the snakeheads going up the Mississippi and now being all over the damn place, even in my home state. Thanks, assholes. And that's just like big things. You have smaller things like stink bugs, spotted lanternflies, and then there's the plants. And I can't get into it. I can't get into it. But it's driving me insane. Okay. Breathe. It'll be fine. So, to round off their cultural influence, they are also the unofficial national animal of Namibia, being on their coat of arms, and in the town of Oranjemund, by the Namib and South African border, there is actually a population of gemsbok that graze freely and live peacefully with the local residents. And with all that said and done, that is the end of the episode. I have taken to writing a script, which, to be fair, probably is what's making this episode so much shorter than all the rest. I do hope you appreciate it being shorter, being more condensed, and me properly being able to give a better listening experience, because that's kind of the main reason I'm doing this, is a listening experience. I don't imagine a lot of you guys are watching me build this exhibit for funsies, but let me know in the comments what you think. If you prefer it this way, because it's a lot more streamlined and easier. But yeah, until then, do all the YouTube stuff that we all know and love. And thank you for watching. Go outside, touch grass, hug your loved ones, and bye-bye.